We want to extend the solvency. We want to extend benefits. We want to make sure that the more than 5 million fellow Americans who get below poverty level checks now get uplifted. We want to make sure that we provide 23 million Americans a tax cut.
So you see right there, Representative Larson is saying that he wants to see more for Social Security. He wants more Social Security benefits. He wants additional tax cuts. But is that something that Congress would even consider? Well, the answer may surprise you. It's actually yes. We could see larger benefits to Social Security recipients, and we could see additional tax cuts to millions and millions of beneficiaries, simply because those are the ones that are not receiving as much as other people. Now, we're going to discuss this. We're going to watch this entire clip. I believe it's like 4 or 5 minutes long. Yeah, it's about 5 minutes long. We're going to watch this entire thing. I will walk you through it. I will give you my take on it, what lawmakers are doing. This was done about 10 days ago. Okay, so this was in a little meeting, and in this, they talk about many things. So we're going to address this in today's video. All I ask is if you want more videos on Social Security, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button, and let's begin. So before we dive into that full video, which again is about 5 minutes long, I want to show you this. The Senate is looking to speed ahead on temporary funding to avert a government shutdown through the holidays. Now, why is this important? Well, it's actually very important because if the U.S. government doesn't receive a new funding bill for fiscal year 2024, we would actually see delays when it comes to sending Social Security checks. We'd also see delays when it comes to approving a new claim. We'd see delays when it comes to issuing a new Social Security card and so many other things. So the good news is there will potentially be no delays because it looks like the Senate will pass a bill that the House already passed. It will go to President Biden's desk and he will sign it. So good news, come Saturday morning, there should be absolutely no delays. Now, let's get into this video because again, this is very important. It's about 5 minutes long. Bear with me and I'll walk you through this entire thing.
And so here we are talking about a subject matter today. As several have pointed out, we're on the verge of a governmental shutdown. We have major issues in front of us. And when it comes to protecting seniors, we're concerned about an issue that impacts 4% of people who have 401ks.
So you can see right there, he is saying that we are, when it comes to talking about 70 million people getting Social Security benefits, they are referring to something that's only going to impact 4% of people. That's concerning because Social Security, based on what many people have said, is the most efficient program we have here in the United States. And they're going to talk about it.
Suffice it to say, as my colleagues know, we need to talk directly about Social Security. That is the responsibility of this committee. We are the committee of cognizance with regard to Social Security. Congress has not enhanced Social Security in more than 52 years.
So let's just talk about that for a second. Congress has not done much for Social Security in 52 years. That's a long time. That is one of the reasons why I believe many people, when they hear that Congress is talking about increasing benefits, decreasing the amount of money you pay in taxes and so many other things, especially leading up to or during an election year, many people look at that as they're just trying to buy my vote. They're just buying votes because they are not going to do a single thing for it. Well, let's keep listening because again, he has some very interesting points.
My colleague, who's always very good with numbers, let me remind him, 70 million Americans will be needing Social Security. 70 million fellow Americans, and yet Congress has stood still and not enhanced Social Security since Richard Nixon was President of the United States.
Been a while.
Not only do we sit here and say we're trying to help out seniors today, what a joke. 10,000 baby boomers a day become eligible for Social Security, and the Committee of Cognizance should be holding hearings on Social Security and talking about what you plan to do for it. We have our plan. We want to extend the solvency. We want to extend benefits. We want to make sure that the more than 5 million fellow Americans who get below poverty level checks now get uplifted.
One of the things I just want to point out, he's saying 5 million people get below level poverty checks. What you need to keep in mind is that Social Security pretty much keeps you in poverty. That is a huge problem. That's one of the reasons why in the Social Security 2100 Act, they are pushing for increases across the board. Increases to every single Social Security recipient out there. That's about 70 million people. Let's keep listening.
We want to make sure that we provide 23 million Americans a tax cut. We want to make sure that every single one of your districts who receive Social Security monies get enhanced so that we can help people on fixed incomes in this time of inflation to be able to utilize their money locally.
So let's touch on that for a second. He says they want to enhance benefits. They want to ensure that everybody's money is going as far as it can in these times of high inflation. We've had the inflation report. It came out. It came out the other day. And it said that we are now at 3.2%. Do you remember what the cost of living adjustment is for 2024? It's 3.2%. So right now, inflation is matching the cost of living adjustment for this upcoming year. Now, granted, it's much lower than the 8.7% that Social Security recipients received in 2023, but we knew that was coming because of all the inflation that we saw from the prior years. So now, things are somewhat looking up because if inflation falls below the cost of living adjustment, that means that Social Security recipients would see a little bit of a boost. So, let's keep listening.
Where it will have the greatest impact. These are your brothers and sisters. These are family members. It is an embarrassment and a disgrace that in the United States Congress, we cannot address the nation's #1 anti-poverty program for the elderly, the #1 anti-poverty program for children, and we're in a committee today talking about an impact of 4% on people with 401ks. I hope the American public is listening. There are solutions that are out there. Let me ask the audience, how many of you out there make more than $400,000 a year? Raise your hand. Funny thing about that, President Biden has said very simply, we can fix this issue by simply lifting the cap on people making over $400,000 a year. Wow. What a stress that would put on everybody across this country. And yet what it would do is put America back on track in terms of what we need to be doing on behalf of our fellow citizens. The #1 anti-poverty program for the elderly, the #1 anti-poverty program for children. And my colleagues on the other side sit in silence. Look in the mirror. Ask yourself if you feel good about what you're doing to your fellow Americans.
Now, I do want to point out one thing. So right now, what he is saying is that Republicans do not want to increase taxes. They do not want to tax large corporations. They do not want to tax people that make over $400,000 per year because that is considered the rich, right? Well, here's what we know. $400,000 per year is not a number that is coinciding with the rich or with millionaires and billionaires. $400,000 per year is what President Biden has said. Nobody making less than $400,000 per year will pay a penny more in taxes. That was what he said. That doesn't mean that number has to stick. He would have to go back on his promise, yes. But they can change that. They can change that entire thing. But that's where some Democrats are coming out and saying, well, no, we can't do $400,000 per year. We need to go lower. So Democrats are fighting against President Biden with that number of $400,000 per year. Because we would actually make we'd have substantial more revenue going into Social Security if that number wasn't $400,000 per year. If that number for the Social Security tax cap was, instead of $160,200 for this year, and I believe like $169,000 for next year, if that number was just $250,000. And that's where Democrats say, no, we can't do it because President Biden said this. But Republicans say, well, why are we just going after the rich? If we're going to increase taxes, we might as well just increase taxes on everybody. And that's something neither party wants to do right before an election.
Who haven't received an enhancement in more than 52 years. Don't try to do some double secret probation committee behind closed doors where no one will get to discuss, especially the Committee of Cognizance, so that you can make a maneuver to cut people's benefits.
Now, we're going to end it there. There's only about 10 seconds left, but the reason why we're going to end it there is because now lawmakers are starting to push these meetings, these hearings, in front of the public. They're now starting to record these and put them out there. They've always recorded them, but now they're putting them out there. They're making them very public. They're showing us these, and now with ease. This video right here, it's actually from Representative John Larson's YouTube channel. Okay? This is exact video. And he is saying we need to enhance Social Security, but by enhancing Social Security, we can't cut from other programs. Here's the one thing I just want to leave you with. If we don't cut from other programs, the only way we can pay for these things is by increasing taxes. Let's say we increase taxes for millionaires and billionaires. If they own businesses, one of the things that they're likely going to do is they're going to try to increase their revenue by charging you and me and the rest of consumers. Yes, they're going to have to pay taxes on all that, but they're just going to charge us a little bit more. So just keep in mind that there's many different options, there's many different paths here, but nobody knows which way is going to be the best, and nobody knows even if the Social Security 2100 Act started to get pushed through the House or the Senate, if that would even pass, whether it's from Republicans or Democrats. It might not even pass either way, and especially right before an election. So we're going to see what happens, but that is what we know as of right now. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.